So we're going to do a little bit of a break from all of the Switch 2 dedicated coverage, although one of the topics in this video is indeed Switch 2 related. But we got to talk about some news too. You know, I like to do news related videos. I hope you guys have been enjoying all of the Switch 2 reviews as far as games and hardware are concerned. There's a lot more coming. I actually have another video ready to go for tomorrow of another game that has been highly requested for me to cover on the channel. But I want to talk about some things that happened today, including Summer Game Fest. So if this is your first time on the channel and you've been enjoying the content, hit that subscribe button, maybe hit the like button too before you leave. But without any further ado, let's talk about what is happening in the world of video games. And Summer Game Fest was today. It's a Keighley event, and really, there wasn't much for me here. There was a couple of cool announcements, though. I'll give the devil his due when it is earned. And one of them was Celia B with 3 E's was there. Funny story. Actually, a lot of people knew she was going to be there within kind of the Spawncast network, but I was not told because I evidently would ruin the surprise or something like that. But I found out early anyways, and I told her that. And I told her because she withheld that information from me. Our double birthday party at Too Many Games is now canceled until further notice. But Celia was there, of course, to represent Yacht Club Games, and they showcased a new trailer for Mina The Hollower. And this game looks freaking awesome, dude. You know, it's Game Boy Color style aesthetic. The gameplay looks really fun. There's like a whole bunch of like different attacks that Mina can do, a whole bunch of different traversal things that Mina can do. I think this looks like a really highly polished game, and I'm not just saying that because I'm friends with her. If anything, I'm harder on my friends than I am on my enemies because I actually talk to my friends. If I don't like you, I'm just not going to talk to you. But all jokes aside, like this game looks very, very high quality. Yacht Club really hasn't missed, in my opinion, on any of their releases. And the game will be coming out on October 31st. So around the Halloween spooky season, I think this would be a very apropos game to check out. Now, the other big announcement at this event was Resident Evil 9. It was something that was kind of teased throughout the showcase, and then they had the final game reveal, and it was indeed Resident Evil 9. I actually didn't get the first bit of the trailer. It was like an FBI scene where a gentleman was talking to a woman, and then the woman ended up being the person that you see throughout the trailer in an FBI office, because I wasn't sure if it was Resident Evil 9. They kind of teased it throughout the show, but they said, oh, we'll show it to you some other time. And it was like, okay, what the hell? But this definitely looks very good. You know, obviously a lot of cinematics were involved in this, but, you know, Raccoon City Police Department was shown and all sorts of stuff like that. I like how we're getting back to the Raccoon City sort of thing, at least in terms of story and stuff like that. Some of the later entries of Resident Evil have kind of gone like all over the world. I think it is time to kind of bring it back, at least in terms of the story. We have a release date of early 2026 for this game, and I definitely like what we saw. Now, I do think it was interesting, kind of at the end of the trailer, Jeff was on stage and he said that some things are going to be like a little bit different, like a little bit of a departure in terms of something, but still within like Resident Evil. I don't really know what that means. That kind of makes me raise a little bit of an eyebrow, but I am remaining hopeful for this. I mean, I've really enjoyed every mainline Resident Evil. Most of the spin-off Resident Evils, what was that one game? The first-person shooter, Operation Raccoon City, I think it was. That was terrible. But everything else has been really cool. So I think that this game looks absolutely awesome. And then, I mean, there was other stuff there. There was a Wu-Tang game, like actual Wu-Tang Clan, like RZA, Jizza, the Old Dirty Bizza, you know, Inspector Deck, Raekwon, Ghostface, Method Man, Capadonna, You God, like actual Wu-Tang. And you have to find Wu-Tang, and I think that's cool because Wu-Tang is forever and Wu-Tang is for the children. But like other than that, dude, there was just a lot of games that just they like blended in together. Like, oh, action, adventure, Souls-like game set in medieval times where you fight one big dude that takes like 30 minutes to beat. Like that seems to be becoming a trend with games, and I know a lot of people like them, but I'm not one of those people. But what did you think of Summer Game Fest? What were some of the highlight games for you? And were you surprised that the next company we're going to talk about, Nintendo, was not there? Because you might remember everyone was going goo goo gaga that Nintendo was going to be at Summer Game Fest. And surprise, surprise, they were not there. The only thing that Nintendo showed was a brief trailer for Cyberpunk 2077 for the Switch 2. And realistically speaking, that's a joint effort between CD Projekt Red and Nintendo. They didn't show any games there. Doug Bowser wasn't there. Nobody Switch 2, nothing Switch 2 related was at this event. And I warned people about that. I thought if anything, it would be third-party stuff. People said, oh, no, it's got to be Nintendo because they use the Switch 2 logo. And lo and behold, it was just a 15-second little commercial, which is pretty funny, all things considered. But like I said, we're going to talk about the Nintendo Switch 2 now, because you might remember earlier this week, I made a video kind of saying that there was a viral lie going around on the internet, and that was based on a GBA temp forum post essentially saying that hackers had access to the Nintendo Switch 2 early because Nintendo either did or did not send them early, and that a MIG switch would brick the Nintendo Switch 2 immediately and all of this stuff, and it was impossible to hack the system. And everyone, for some reason, got very excited for that. I still don't understand why that is the case, but a lot of people got really excited for it. They thought it was a great thing, and yes, you can't hack the system. And I just looked at the post itself on GBA Temp, and I was like, there's a lot of inconsistencies within this post. And it was like, if you do manage to hack it, you either have to send the system back to Nintendo or pay Nintendo for the system, or they're going to take you to small claims court. None of it made sense, but everyone just ran with it like it was indeed a story. Well, less than 24 hours after the release of the Nintendo Switch 2, hackers are already having fun with it. They have found a minor hack that allows you to run custom code on top of the operating system. Now, this isn't a full-on hack or anything like that. It's not jailbroken or anything. It's basically a return-orientated program exploit that allows you to put something over basically the operating system. In the little video that was shown doing this, it was basically just a little checkerboard graphics. It's not, completely hacked to the point of where you can, make an emulator. You could start downloading games. You can jailbreak your Switch so you don't have to, or Switch 2 so you don't have to buy games anymore. It's definitely nothing like that. But what it is proof of is that there are exploits already within 24 hours. I don't think anyone expected the Switch 1 to be hacked within, the Switch 2, I should say, to be hacked within 24 hours or even like the first few days or a week or something like that. The point of it is that Nintendo is obviously going to do their due diligence with this system and potentially have to change things that are either apparent or unapparent. You remember with the original Nintendo Switch, if you had a paperclip, you could exploit a custom firmware on your Nintendo Switch because of the fact that it was able to be hacked that way. And then system updates come along and system revisions that change little things within the system itself that the consumer never sees in order to make sure that that is not a problem. Basically, what I'm saying with this is nothing is unhackable. And when you say something is unhackable, that, if anything, will just give hackers more reason to want to do it. It's an inevitability of any sort of hardware when it comes to video games, when it comes to computers, when it comes to anything. People like to do exploits for whatever reason. Sometimes they like to push themselves. Sometimes they like to see if it can be done. And sometimes, of course, there are more nefarious things. I just find it very funny how everyone was like so gung-ho that, oh, the system can't be hacked. And I mean, it already has an exploit found in like 24 hours. So it'll definitely be something to monitor because, they allegedly they got in through the backwards compatibility aspect of the Switch 2 with the Switch 1. And that's going to be very interesting to see how that plays out in the future as far as, will Switch 2 end up becoming fully hacked to the point of where game dumps start popping up and then you have emulators and stuff like that. I mean, realistically speaking, it didn't impact the Nintendo Switch in a super negative way. They still sold over 150 million systems and billions of dollars worth of games and stuff like that. Like, it's a very niche thing. But I just thought that was a very interesting story that I wanted to update you guys on because I said a lot of things in that initial video. And it seems like I was spot on. But that's what I have for you guys today. Let me know what you think of it in the comments section down below. And as always, thank you for checking out this video. If you are new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Be sure to like, comment, and share. Hit the bell as well. Check out all the other videos you might have missed. Street Fighter 6, Mario Kart World. Spoiler alert, since you made it to the end of the video, Cyberpunk 2077 is indeed tomorrow. And I have a lot of things to say about the Switch 2 version of the game. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Later.